Have you ever experienced the gut-wrenching pain of a broken heart, the lingering ache of a lost friendship, or the quiet disappointment of unrequited affection? Human connection is a fundamental need, a source of joy, support, and meaning in our lives. We build connections, we invest our emotions, we weave intricate tapestries of shared experiences and mutual affection. But what happens when those bonds break, when the threads of connection unravel, leaving us feeling lost, hurt, and adrift? How do you handle the emotional weight when someone leaves, either through circumstance, choice, or perhaps never fully invested in the first place? How do you navigate the turbulent waters of heartbreak, grief, and disappointment without being swept away by the current of your emotions? How do you stop caring? Or at least, stop caring so much that it consumes you? And perhaps most importantly, can you truly detach emotionally from someone without losing a piece of yourself, without becoming cold, indifferent, or emotionally numb? Welcome to Stoic Spirit, the channel dedicated to exploring the timeless wisdom of Stoicism and applying its principles to the challenges of modern life. In this video, we turn to the ancient philosophy of Stoicism, particularly the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, to find answers to these complex and often painful questions. The Stoics were masters of understanding and managing human emotions, not by suppressing them or pretending they don't exist, but by learning how to balance their influence, to prevent them from dictating our actions and clouding our judgment. Emotional detachment, in the Stoic sense, is not about becoming cold, indifferent, or emotionally unavailable. It's not about suppressing your feelings or pretending you don't care. Rather, it's about regaining the power to choose your responses, to act with clarity and intention, and to cultivate a sense of inner peace that transcends the transient nature of external relationships. This video explores 5 timeless Stoic rules for cultivating emotional detachment, using the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius as our guide. These are not just abstract philosophical concepts. They are practical, actionable strategies that you can implement in your own life to navigate the complexities of relationships, manage emotional turmoil, and cultivate greater resilience and inner peace. This is practical advice, grounded in ancient wisdom, meant to reshape the way you engage with yourself, with others, and with the inevitable ups and downs of life. So if you're ready to learn how to detach from unhealthy emotional attachments, to free yourself from the grip of heartbreak and disappointment, and to cultivate a deeper sense of inner peace and emotional resilience, join us as we delve into the wisdom of the Stoics. Rule 1. Understand impermanence. Rule number 1 for cultivating Stoic emotional detachment is understanding the impermanence of all things, particularly relationships. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor and philosopher, wisely reminds us, everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. This fundamental principle of Stoicism is crucial for understanding the nature of relationships and the inevitable changes they undergo. We often cling to our personal narratives about relationships, to the stories we create about their significance, their permanence, and their role in our lives. We build these narratives based on our own perspectives, our own hopes, fears, and expectations. However, clinging to these subjective narratives blinds us to a fundamental truth: the reality of impermanence. All relationships are transient. This is not a pessimistic view, it's a realistic one. People change, circumstances change, and life itself is a constant flow of change. No relationship, no matter how deep or meaningful, remains static. Friendships drift apart, romantic relationships end, family dynamics shift, and even the closest bonds are subject to the inevitable forces of change and time. Embracing this truth, accepting the impermanence of all relationships, is the first step towards cultivating emotional detachment. The Stoics often use the analogy of sands slipping through your fingers to illustrate the futility of clinging to things beyond our control. The tighter you grip the sand, the faster it slips away. The same is true for relationships. The more we try to control them, to force them to conform to our expectations, the more likely they are to slip through our grasp. Accepting the transient nature of relationships doesn't mean we shouldn't value them or invest in them. It means we should appreciate them for what they are in the present moment, without clinging to the illusion of permanence. When we recognize that all connections have a beginning and an end, we become more present, more mindful of the preciousness of each interaction. We savor the joy, the connection, and the shared experiences without the fear of loss clouding our present moments. Accepting that connections can and do end, whether through distance, circumstance, choice, or death, allows us to release the emotional weight of expectation, the burden of trying to control the uncontrollable. It frees us to appreciate the present moment, to invest in our relationships authentically, and to cultivate a sense of inner peace that transcends the inevitable changes that life brings. By embracing impermanence, we paradoxically strengthen our relationships by freeing them from the unrealistic burden of our expectations and allowing them to evolve organically. Rule 2. Master emotions through reason. Rule 2 for achieving Stoic emotional detachment involves mastering your emotions through the power of reason. The Stoics understood that emotions, while a natural part of the human experience, are not always reliable guides to action or accurate reflections of reality. They are, in essence, products of our thoughts, our beliefs, and our interpretations of events. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, eloquently articulated this principle. We are not at the mercy of our emotions. Our emotions are at the mercy of our thoughts. This powerful statement reminds us that we are not passive recipients of our emotions. We have the power to shape and influence them through our thoughts and judgments. Your mind governs your emotional state. The way you perceive a situation, the meaning you assign to it, and the story you tell yourself about it directly influence your emotional response. When you're emotionally attached to someone, it's easy to become entangled in a web of reactive emotions: jealousy, insecurity, anxiety, resentment. These emotions often stem from our interpretations of events, rather than the events themselves. Shift your focus from, "Why did this happen?" to, "How can I think about this differently?" When faced with emotional turmoil, especially in the context of a relationship, we often get caught up in the why. Why did they leave? Why did they say that? Why don't they feel the same way? These questions, while understandable, often lead to rumination, self-doubt, and a sense of powerlessness. The Stoic approach is to shift your focus to the how. How can I reframe this situation? How can I interpret this differently? How can I choose a more empowering response? Choose thoughts that free you, not fuel your suffering. Your internal dialogue, the constant stream of thoughts running through your mind, has a profound impact on your emotional state. When you feed your mind with negative thoughts, self-criticism, and worst-case scenarios, you fuel your suffering. Conversely, when you choose thoughts that are grounded in reason, acceptance, and self-compassion, you create space for inner peace and emotional freedom. Challenge your interpretations. Don't accept your initial emotional reactions as absolute truths. Question your thoughts, examine your assumptions, and look for alternative interpretations. Is there a more balanced or rational way to view the situation? Are you catastrophizing or jumping to conclusions? By challenging your interpretations, you gain a greater sense of control over your emotional responses and create space for more empowering perspectives. Your emotions are not your enemy. They are messengers. Learn to listen to them with discernment, guided by reason and self-awareness, and you will master the art of emotional detachment, not through suppression, but through empowerment. Rule 3. Practice negative visualization. Rule 3 introduces a powerful Stoic technique for cultivating emotional resilience and preparing for life's inevitable changes. Practice negative visualization. This might seem counterintuitive at first. Why would you intentionally imagine negative outcomes or difficult scenarios? Wouldn't that just increase anxiety and stress? However, the Stoics, particularly Marcus Aurelius, recognized the profound value of this practice. By mentally rehearsing challenging situations, by confronting the potential for loss and adversity in our minds, we diminish their power to overwhelm us when they occur in reality. It's like a mental fire drill. By preparing for the worst, we equip ourselves to handle emergencies with greater calm and composure. Marcus Aurelius wisely cautioned against becoming overwhelmed by imagining all of life's potential troubles at once. Do not disturb yourself by imagining the whole of your life's troubles at once. The key is to focus on specific scenarios, one at a time, and to approach them with a sense of detachment and objective observation. This practice builds resilience by gradually exposing us to the emotional discomfort of potential loss or adversity, allowing us to develop coping mechanisms and strengthen our inner fortitude. Visualize life without the person you're attached to. This might involve imagining a friend moving away, a relationship ending, or even the death of a loved one. Picture yourself navigating daily life without their presence, experiencing the emotions that arise, and finding ways to adapt and move forward. Facing this discomfort in your mind, in a controlled and safe environment, reduces its power to devastate you when or if it happens in reality. It allows you to process the potential for loss and develop coping strategies in advance. Recognize loss as a natural part of life. Everything is impermanent. Relationships change, circumstances shift, and nothing stays the same forever. By recognizing this fundamental truth, we stop clinging to the illusion of permanence and begin to appreciate the present moment more fully. When we stop expecting things to stay the same, the fear of loss diminishes. We become less attached to outcomes and more focused on appreciating the present moment. The only time we truly have control over appreciate what you have now, knowing that it will inevitably change. This doesn't mean living in constant fear of loss. It means cultivating a deep sense of gratitude for the present moment, for the people in your life, and for the experiences you share. By acknowledging the transient nature of all things, we savor the present moment more fully, recognizing its preciousness and impermanence. This awareness frees you to be present, to fully engage with your life and your relationships without the constant fear of loss hanging over you. It allows you to experience the joy, the connection, and the love without clinging to the illusion of permanence. Negative visualization, while seemingly pessimistic, is actually a powerful tool for cultivating gratitude, resilience, and a deeper appreciation for the present moment. Rule 4. Focus on what you can control. Rule 4 emphasizes a core principle of Stoicism. Focus on what you can control. This principle, perhaps more than any other, is the key to unlocking emotional detachment and cultivating inner peace. Stoicism emphasizes that we have control over our thoughts, our actions, and our responses to external events. Everything else, the actions of others, the outcomes of situations, the unpredictable nature of life, is outside our direct control. Trying to control the uncontrollable is a recipe for frustration, anxiety, and emotional turmoil. Emotional detachment, in the Stoic sense, is not about becoming indifferent or emotionally numb. It's about letting go of your attachment to outcomes that you cannot dictate. It's about recognizing that true freedom lies in focusing on what you can control, which is your own inner world. You can't control how others feel about you, how they treat you, or whether they choose to stay in your life. You can express your love, your appreciation, and your commitment, but you cannot force reciprocity. You can be the best version of yourself, but you cannot control how others perceive you or interpret your actions. The only thing you truly have power over is your own response. How will you choose to react to the actions and choices of others? Will you allow their behavior to dictate your emotional state, or will you choose to respond with wisdom, composure, and self-respect? Embrace emotional autonomy. This is the empowering realization that your happiness, your peace of mind, and your emotional stability do not depend on the actions or feelings of others. Your well-being is your own responsibility. It comes from within, from your own thoughts, actions, and choices, not from external validation or approval. Shift your attention to your emotional state. Become aware of your emotions, acknowledge them without judgment, and then choose your response. Don't allow your emotions to control you. Instead, use your reason and your Stoic principles to guide your actions. By reclaiming control over your inner world, you reclaim your power. Acceptance is key. Accept things as they are, not as you wish they were. This doesn't mean passively resigning yourself to a difficult situation. It means acknowledging the reality of the situation without resistance or resentment. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. When you accept what you cannot control, you free up your energy to focus on what you can control, your response, your actions, and your next steps. Accept the present moment, learn from it, and then focus on moving forward with wisdom, courage, and a renewed sense of purpose. Rule 5. Reflect on the bigger picture. Rule 5 offers a powerful perspective shift for navigating emotional challenges. Reflect on the bigger picture. When we're entangled in the intensity of our emotions, particularly in the context of relationships, it's easy to lose sight of the broader context of our lives. We become fixated on the immediate situation, the hurt, the anger, the disappointment, and we allow these emotions to consume us. The Stoics, especially Marcus Aurelius, encourage us to zoom out, to take a step back and view our troubles from a wider perspective, recognizing their fleeting nature in the vastness of time. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the brevity of human life and the insignificance of our individual struggles in the grand scheme of things. This perspective is not meant to diminish our experiences, but to provide a sense of proportion and context. Ask yourself, will this matter in 5 years? In 10 years? In the grand sweep of history? Often, the answer is no. The intense emotions we feel in the moment, the heartbreak, the betrayal, the disappointment, will likely fade with time, replaced by new experiences, new relationships, and new perspectives. Shifting your focus to a higher level of reflection lessens the grip of temporary circumstances. By zooming out and viewing your situation from a broader perspective, you gain a sense of detachment from the immediate emotional turmoil. You recognize that your current struggles, while painful, are not permanent, not defining, and not the entirety of your existence. Remember, you are a complete individual with your own unique path, purpose, and potential. Your identity is not defined by your relationships, your successes, or your failures. You are a complex, multifaceted being with a rich inner life, a unique set of talents and abilities, and a capacity for growth and transformation that extends far beyond any single relationship or experience. Life is ever-changing, a constant flow of beginnings and endings, of joys and sorrows, of successes and setbacks. Relationships, while an important part of our lives, are just one thread in the tapestry of our existence. They come and go, they evolve and change, and they are subject to the same forces of impermanence as everything else. You've survived emotional storms before. You will weather this one too. Reflecting on past challenges, on times when you faced adversity and emerged stronger and wiser, can provide a sense of perspective and reassurance. Remember your own resilience, your capacity for growth, and your ability to adapt and overcome difficult situations. Reflecting on the bigger picture cultivates inner peace. It allows you to detach from the immediate intensity of your emotions and connect with a deeper sense of calm and equanimity. Clinging tightly to people, to outcomes, or to the illusion of permanence only leads to suffering. By letting go, by accepting the impermanence of all things, and by reflecting on the grander scheme of life, you free yourself from the grip of emotional attachment and cultivate a more profound and enduring sense of inner peace. In conclusion, emotional detachment, as the Stoics understood it, is not about becoming cold, indifferent, or emotionally unavailable. It's about building resilience, about cultivating the inner strength to navigate the inevitable ups and downs of life and relationships with greater wisdom, clarity, and equanimity. It's about recognizing that true freedom lies not in controlling external events or other people's behavior, but in mastering your own inner world. Your thoughts, your judgments, and your responses. Embrace impermanence. Accept that change is the only constant, that relationships evolve, and that nothing lasts forever. This acceptance frees you from the illusion of permanence and allows you to appreciate the present moment more fully. Master your emotions through reason. Recognize that your emotions are products of your thoughts, not objective realities. Challenge your interpretations, choose empowering perspectives, and cultivate a more positive and rational inner dialogue. Reflect on the bigger picture. When entangled in emotional turmoil, zoom out and view your situation from a wider perspective. Remember the brevity of life, the insignificance of your individual struggles in the grand scheme of things, and your own inherent worth and resilience before. Emotional detachment, when practiced with wisdom and compassion, is not a form of escapism or denial. It's an act of self-liberation. It frees you from the chains of reactive emotions, from the need for external validation, and from the suffering that arises from clinging to the illusion of control. Ask yourself, do I control my emotions, or do they control me? This question is not a judgment. It's an invitation to self-reflection, an opportunity to examine your relationship with your emotions and to reclaim your power. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of Stoic wisdom and the path to emotional detachment. If you found these insights valuable, please show your support by giving the video a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel for more Stoic guidance and practical philosophy for modern living. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future uploads. And remember, the journey to emotional freedom is a process, not a destination. Be patient with yourself. Practice these principles consistently, and trust that true emotional liberation awaits those who dare to let go of the need to control and embrace the wisdom of the Stoics.